Hello, my name's Tom Young, and I'm going to be analysing the opening scene to the movie, TV series Dexter. The first scene is actually extreme close-up of this mosquito, kind of stabbing into someone's arm. Um, it's quite an eerie. It's not eerie as such, but it's quite, the mosquito is an omen of kind of this death, blood, and greed. And it's kind of this kind of, the audience know this is quite it's quite an odd scene to begin with, so they're not really sure what's going to happen next. There is actually kind of music in the background. You can't hear any diegetic sound as of yet, but there is diegetic sound throughout the opening scene. However, you can just hear this theme tune. It's kind of an upbeat kind of child's fairground, but it's also got that menacing kind of feel to it, which it kind of contrasts with the mosquito a bit. So it's kind of all a bit weird. The second scene is the camera kind of focuses on this face behind, and suddenly we hear this slap, and he actually slaps the mosquito, killing it, and the blood is marked all over his skin, which is very suggestive of this kind of aggressive kind of character. He's got blood all over his arm, but he doesn't wash away the blood. He looks at the blood in quite a menacing way, which it kind of adds dramatic irony and tension to the opening scene. The next kind of scene is actually of him shaving. It's very suggestive. He's cutting in a way which he could almost actually cut his throat. And his hand is also in the strangling position. It's very clever because it's almost as if he likes to live with that risk of injuring himself or injuring others. The next one is actually another extreme close-up of the bottom of his sink. And blood starts to drop from the sink, from him, and we don't know why he's bleeding or why he begins to bleed. It must be, with the audience, assuming that it must be he cut himself while shaving. The blood drops almost like a murder has taken place. It's washed away just like evidence would be, or a killer would wash away evidence down the sink. It then cuts away to the title sequence, and the title is shown. It says Dexter in kind of big red bold letters. It's kind of very dark. The blood has been splattered around the corners of the kind of letters, which suggests a murder or a violent kind of crime has taken place. The audience know it's going to be some sort of thriller or horror film because the conventions used to present this title, all ones that would be found in that kind of genre. It then goes back to his morning routine, and it actually shows him cooking himself breakfast, and he's stabbing this meat in this pan, which is kind of crackling away, and the crackling sound is also kind of goes with the whole kind of thriller, kind of burning, that sort of stuff. And he stabs at it like he would be stabbing someone in a murder. And to him, it's kind of odd because the audience know to him, even making breakfast is very suggestive for him, stabbing, etc., etc. The next scene is actually of him kind of tightening. He's got some little rope tied around his hands, and he's kind of squeezing it or pulling something very hard. And it kind of adds this kind of mystery because the audience don't know what he's doing because it's such a close-up. You don't see anything else in the scene. It's quite unsettling because we know he's got kind of a lot of strength, but we don't know why he's doing that. We don't know if he's angry, etc., etc. Now the next scene is the last scene, and it's actually of his face. It's the first time we see his face, and it's kind of a big shock to the audience because he is not the typical, what they're expecting, psychopath. He actually looks like an ordinary guy, and the audience, it's kind of quite dramatic because all that build up, and then there's this, but they're thinking what? So it kind of adds that kind of they're interested in the film now, and they're looking forward to where it's going to go.